This story is inspired by real events. It is about a boy who used books, courage, and old machine parts to bring light to his home. William Kamkwamba lived in a small village in Malawi, a country in southeastern Africa. His family were farmers, and most days began with work in the fields. They grew maize, their most important food each season. When the rain came at the right time, the fields were green, and life felt possible. But one year, the rain did not come as people expected. The sun stayed hot, and the ground became dry. William watched his father look at the fields in silence. Trywell was a strong man, but even strong people can feel afraid when nature gives no help. Soon, families in the village began to eat less. At night, William heard his parents talking in low voices. They were trying to decide what to buy, what to sell, and how to help the family survive. Everyone was worried about the same problem. William loved school, especially science. He liked asking how things worked. A radio, a bicycle, or a lamp could hold his attention for hours. However, school cost money, and his family could not pay for school. One morning, William had to leave the classroom and go home. It was one of the hardest days of his life. He felt ashamed, although he had done nothing wrong. Poverty had closed the school door. For a while, William helped at home and tried not to think about lessons, but his mind did not become quiet. He still wanted to learn, and near his old school there was a small library. The library did not have many books, but for William it was like a hidden room full of doors. Some books were difficult, so he studied the pictures, diagrams, and simple explanations again and again. Sometimes he did not understand a whole page. Still, he did not give up. He read the same lines again, made guesses from the drawings, and used every small piece of information he could find. One day, he found a science book with a picture of a windmill. The book explained that wind could turn blades and produce electricity. William stared at the picture for a long time inside his mind. In his village, wind was everywhere. It moved through the fields, lifted dust, and shook dry grass. William began to imagine a machine that could use that wind instead of simply letting it pass every day. If he could make electricity, his family might have light at night. Even more important, he imagined a pump that could bring water to the fields. With water, crops could grow when rain was late. William did not have new materials. He did not have a shop, a computer, or a teacher beside him. He had only a book and an idea. So he went to a junkyard near school. The junkyard was a place where broken machines and old metal were left. Other people saw rubbish, but William saw possibilities. He searched through old parts and found metal, plastic, wire, and bicycle pieces he needed. Some people laughed at him. They did not understand why a boy who was not in school was collecting dirty machine parts in the heat. William heard their jokes, but he kept working every day. His friend Gilbert helped him. Gilbert did not know if the windmill would work, but he believed William was serious and deserved a chance. Together, they carried parts that were heavy, rusty, and awkward back home. William studied the diagrams again and again. He learned that the blades had to turn a wheel, and the wheel had to move a generator. The idea was simple, but the building was not at first. Building the tower was difficult. The machine had to stand high enough to catch the wind, but it also had to be strong. William used wood, bicycle parts, and metal pieces from the junkyard for support. His tools were simple, and many parts did not fit at first. The first blades were not good enough. They turned badly and made the machine shake, so William changed their shape and tried again. Another time, a wire came loose and nothing happened. William felt disappointed, but he treated the problem like a lesson, not like the end. Each small failure taught him what to check next and understand. At home, Agnes worried about him, and Trywell was not sure what to think. The family needed food, not another broken machine. Trywell asked William if this strange project could really help them at all. William could not promise success, but he asked for time. That was difficult for his father. He loved his son, but life was serious. In a hungry season, every hour and every small object mattered. Still, William did not stop. He knew his idea sounded strange, but many useful things sound strange before they are finished. Finally, the windmill stood above the ground, unusual, but full of hope, to him. People came to watch. Some were curious, and some still laughed. William connected the wires and waited for the wind to move the blades. At first, nothing happened, and the crowd waited in silence together there. William felt his heart beat faster, but he kept his eyes on the blades. Then the wind became stronger. The blades turned slowly, then faster, and the bicycle wheel began to spin in front of them. A small light came on. It was not a bright city light, but in that moment it felt powerful. For a few seconds, nobody spoke with surprise. Then people moved closer to see the machine. Agnes looked at the light and then at her son. Trywell stood quietly, but his face changed. Doubt slowly became pride that evening. The boy people had laughed at had made electricity from the wind. For William's family, the light meant more than comfort. It meant that learning could survive outside a classroom. It meant that ideas could change daily life, even when they began with old parts and questions. Later, more people heard about William's windmill. Visitors came to his village, and his story reached people far beyond Malawi. William eventually returned to education and shared his story with the world in later interviews. He showed that invention is not only about money or perfect tools. It is also about looking at a problem and refusing to believe that nothing can be done. Curiosity can become a kind of strength. William's windmill began with hunger, disappointment, and a closed school door. But it became a story about patience, imagination, and practical hope. The wind had always been there. One boy saw real power in it.